In this morning's Business Insight, earlier we told you about a major deal that was struck last week with Uber that will bring the Cincinnati Mobility Lab to our city. A major part of the lab is an expansion of Uber's Cincinnati presence, and with it, access to Uber's vast data gathering abilities. The Cincinnati USA Regional Chamber was instrumental in brokering this deal. Pete Metz, the Chamber's Transportation Policy and Coalition Manager, joins Business Courier editor Rob Dahlmeyer in the studio with more on the impact of the Cincinnati Mobility Lab. Gentlemen.
Peg, thanks very much. Pete, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Busy time for you.
Exceedingly.
We heard whispers that something with Uber could happen with Cincinnati starting, at least I started hearing about last summer, but obviously no one wanted to tell me anything. How did this deal come together?
Yeah, so it was incredible, really, that Mary Miller, who's a SORTA board member, was at a conference where she met someone from Uber, and if you know Mary, she's a huge advocate for this region. She said, we need you in Cincinnati. We need you to help us work with our bus system, work with the city. And so from there, we started having conference calls, and the chamber was engaged, and we engaged folks at City Hall, and on both sides of the river at the Transit Authority, we brought representatives from Uber out here. And one thing that stood out to them was that we were highly aligned between our private sector and our public sector. And they said, well, we really could do some work here. This city looks a lot like other cities in the country, and if we can solve problems in Cincinnati, we think we can scale that to other parts around the globe.
So Uber, to a lot of us, it's an app on my phone, and I use it to get around, and I frankly don't think too much more about it. I know it's a hot company out in Silicon Valley, but tell everybody that they're not a taxi company. They're a data company in some ways.
So data and mobility, and I think one of the things that's really key is that they also are viewing local governments and transit authorities as potential customers for them. And so part of this partnership is for them to bring the tools and assets they have, whether it's the technology or the product offerings that they have, to Cincinnati and say, what problems can we solve here for the transit authorities, whether it's SORTA or TANK or for the city of Cincinnati or with OKI, and say, how do we solve your problems, and then how can we scale that globally?
So you joined the chamber about a year and a half ago. Transportation is up there with, I think, jobs as maybe one and two priorities for the chamber. What is it about the city's transportation system that the chamber feels either needs attention or help or whatever word you want to use?
Yeah, so when you go around and talk to our members, they'll often tell you, I have open positions that I just can't seem to fill, or I've got a workforce that's not able to get here reliably, or I have major turnover and it's costing my bottom line. And all of those things are tied to transportation, right? It's that I'm competing for jobs with Nashville and Chicago and Indianapolis and Columbus, and people are choosing those cities. And so what we realized was that transportation's at the core of that, to your point, along with workforce development and talent. And so I came on to help think about how we can provide the right transportation system, working with our public partners that can help businesses hire the people they need, attract the talent to the region, and frankly grow and develop here in Cincinnati.
How adaptive do you think this city can be when it comes to making changes? If we're looking a year or two out, this mobility lab, what would people in Cincinnati maybe see that they're not seeing now? I know this is new.
Yeah, so this is one of the most innovative partnerships that I think the region has had in my memory. And so what you can see are new potential tools and offerings. You'll see one of the really exciting things that's coming right out of the chute is that they're going to be working, Uber working with both SORTA and TANK to take data from all three organizations, which has never happened before, and analyze it to say, how do we provide a 21st century transportation system that complements public transit, that incorporates ride sharing to get people where they need to go better than they do today.
I think this, there are a lot of stories that we do that, if somebody's building a giant building, it's a big deal. Everybody knows it. If companies coming or going, it's a big deal. This is one of those stories, though, that I think could have profound impact on this city if it can work right. I assume you would agree with that.
Absolutely, and that it is a multi-year agreement, and that Uber is going to have a staff person on the ground to try to make this thing work as successfully as possible is a huge opportunity for our region.
Well, good luck with it, and hopefully we can talk again soon as things get ramped up and you start learning maybe what Uber's finding, what they tell you, and congratulations to you guys for getting them in here.
Thanks, I'd love to come back.
All right.